Welcome, curious sailors. For those new to the channel, this is Martina from Argentina, a Royal Caribbean crew member reporting from the Serenade of the Seas, telling you my story through my curious lens. Yesterday here in Serenade of the Seas, as you might have heard, there broke news that the ship is halting operations. This came kind of as an unexpected surprise, and let me explain to you what that means. With the ever-growing tensions of the new Omicron variant, of course, we were kind of bracing ourselves to receive some news. Either that cruises would not be allowed in certain ports, that cruising would be stopped altogether, or that Royal Caribbean might take the voluntary choice of stopping certain sailings to allow those ships with many cases, especially among crew, to get better on operational level and continue sailing. But that's not quite it. That's not quite what's happening on the Serenade of the Seas, and actually it's nothing to worry about. It's not that bad, because the Serenade of the Seas will actually stop its cruising for now to assist the rest of the fleet to continue doing so. So our tasks in the next few months will be to support the other ships on the fleet to continue operating in an effective and healthy way. And I think that's great, and I'm really happy to be part of it. So how will the Serenade take on this role? Well, we've all probably heard already that we are probably in the midst of the peak of the Omicron variant, as is expected. We are seeing a lot of cases, but the good thing is that the severity of these cases is not as bad as before, probably thanks to vaccines and just the nature of this new variant. Symptoms don't seem to be as bad. We have not had much hospitalizations or severe cases, so that's, I think, the most important part of all. In order to relieve the pressures of the amount of COVID cases around the fleet, Serenade will perform a supporting role, especially to those ships sailing around the Caribbean. How will we do that? Basically, we will be what they call a quarantine or a hospital ship for Royal Caribbean crew members that are COVID positive. Of course, not serious cases. They will be embarked on the Serenade of the Seas in order to get better, be well taken care of, be able to recuperate in a healthy and more isolated environment without putting pressure on the other ships still trying to sail, with, of course, healthy crew and guests, cruise goers that we want to keep safe as well. This will also ease cruise ships to be allowed to enter different ports, not risking the countries, of course, of getting positive cases entering via the cruise ships. So basically, what will we do? We will still consider Tampa our home port. Back here we are sailing already. Tampa will still be our home port for now, for fueling, for restocking food and supplies, and we will be sailing for now to Cozumel to meet other ships sailing, as I said, the Western Caribbean, and picking up their COVID positive crew just for the short period of time that they need to be back in top health and then back to their previous ships to continue with their assignments. This, of course, allows ships not to be needing to allocate more cabins for them, which of course require filtering and the airflow of the ship be redirected and stuff like that. Of course, a lot of manpower to make sure that they are healthy, safe and well fed. That's a big operation to feed all the people in quarantine. So we are taking on that role. Our crew will be fully dedicated to that. So that allows vacations to continue without any problems. Okay, but why Serenade? And this is, of course, part of my personal speculation only, but basically Serenade is scheduled to go on dry dock on a few months' time, now on March. This is a big time for a cruise ship when we stop operation. In this case, for a whole month, we will be without guests. We will go to a dry dock to make major repairs. So since this date was coming up so soon, and we were anyways just 8 cruises away to stopping operations regardless for the dry dock, we're just pausing before, and we have our sister ship, the Brilliance of the Seas, actually sailing from the pier right next to us here in Tampa, and they're doing a very similar itinerary. So hopefully for all of our guests that had reservations with the Serenade, it will be a smooth transition to be relocated to Brilliance or any other ship of the fleet. Plus, we already successfully completed our first season in Alaska. Most of our crew joined in June, so they're completing a long and successful contract. So most of our crew were anyways going home pretty much around this time. So it made more sense to stop, for example, the Serenade instead of the Brilliance, who has just started and all the crew are fresh on the boat. Yeah, but don't call it a boat. I was just making a joke. It's a ship. There's other ships on the fleet already also taking on this role, so really I don't see it as bad news. I see it as a role that I'm proud that the Serenade can take. Because as you can see, it doesn't mean that cruisings are stopping, not at all. We're just using our resources, I think, in a smarter way. So what will happen? Today we disembarked our last guests. Our continuous cruisers were offered to move to the Brilliance, literally along the pier. And of course we won't be taking any guests until we finish our dry dock after April. We did transfer and we will continue to transfer most of our extra surplus of crew to other ships that might be needing them. Others have chosen to go home, some have disembarked today, others will be disembarking when we come back to Tampa or from other of the ports that we will be touching base on. That's basically gonna conclude our Caribbean season. But this time we won't go to fully minimal crew. We're still gonna have a lot of people in our ship. We're gonna have a lot of crew members coming on board. We're expecting to be 800 strong, so we're still gonna need a lot of crew. Sadly, all of my entertainment team once again won't be staying on board. Most of the revenue areas from the shops, the spa, and so on won't be staying, but other more operational roles will be staying. Especially, as I said, well, the medical team, clearly, all the engineers, the marine team, and as well the food and beverage team will of course be here to keep us all well fed. And from my side, you know, I'm a broadcast technician, so I will be playing movies, I will be keeping the TV running, playing movies, exercise videos, making sure that we still get our satellite signal to be connected to the world through the news and so on. So basically keeping everyone entertained. Since basically we're gonna have most of our crew isolated in their cabins, so it's pretty important to keep them entertained through the TV. This should continue until we go into dry dock, another exciting time that I'm eager to share with you, and then we should restart with our Alaska season after another crossing through the Panama Canal, which we still don't know if it's gonna be with or without guests, but we still have a lot of time for that. I'm looking forward to see this new chapter on Serenade of the Seas, and I'm happy to be part of it. And to be honest, it does feel kind of a deja vu to be probably going to reopen the Serenade of the Seas in Alaska again. If you haven't been following the channel, I have a lot of videos about that experience, so I feel a lot more prepared this time around. I have been on Serenade when it was out of service, so I feel like at home with my team, my equipment and everything. But let me be honest for a moment, I don't want to stop mentioning that I do feel bad for all the crew members that have been affected by this decision. A lot of people that abruptly were informed that they have to go home, that they have to transfer to other ships. It's tough when you have your workplace, your friendships, your relationships on one place, on one ship, and you have to be transferred. It's really tough. I lived it through 2020. I made videos about mental health at that point, and it's a tough situation to go through. I'm privileged, I feel, to stay put, to be where I'm comfortable. So yes, I'm sorry for all those also that had assignments that were coming on Serenade in literally 1-2 weeks, people that actually flew out here to Tampa and the news were released literally when they were on the plane and they had to fly back. So really, I hope that everything goes smooth for everyone affected in that way, and of course for our vacation goers, for our cruisers. I hope you can still enjoy an awesome cruise in the Caribbean thanks to these efforts that we are doing. So I wish them luck, wish us luck as well, everybody to stay healthy. Stick around for more videos, stay curious, I'll see you next time. Ciao, ciao.